conservative commentators, like both on our Fox local here in LA, and also on Politicon back in the day when they had that.
The OG Charlie Kirk debater, dude.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen that. I've seen that.
I live like a capitalist chink. That's so funny. Someone resurfaced that debate recently, and it went viral, and people were like, "This guy's lying. He doesn't make $60,000 a year. He lives in a $3 million mansion." I'm like, dude, it's conservatives don't understand the concept of time.
That's so real, dude. Yeah,
we literally are just like, oh, time. How does it change? You know, what happens when days go by? Like, it's a fucking debate from like 2017 or 2016 or some shit. You know, but
dude, unbelievable. Yeah, but I mean, I think those are good for driving discourse, like really good for driving discourse and getting the other side involved. And I think that the more like we engage in these types of conversations, the more people will critically think about those types of things. Because I think when people go into their own echo chambers, they just they don't critically think as much.
I think that there definitely is a good that comes from just making these people look unhinged and stupid to the greater public. But where is the threshold where it becomes
desirable for us to get rid of that? Because we still want a state to limit people from committing crimes, right?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I'm not a communist, so I think that I can't even imagine what that would look like in general. But the way I explain it is I'm not opposed to it. You know, I wouldn't say I'm a communist, but I wouldn't say that I'm opposed to a stateless, moneyless society, a borderless society.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Would you be against the enforcement of certain types of laws? Once we meet that society, I feel like in a communist society, there's no government that would enforce laws against pedophilia. I feel like that would be true, right?
No, yes, obviously. That's why I'm saying I'm not a communist. But if society evolved in a way where we're talking so far out there, we're now talking about theoretically what it would look like, right? We're basically fantasizing about a world that is from where I'm standing impossible to imagine. But I think the argument, I guess, would be that one, obviously most crime in general, with the exception of antisocial personality disorder related crimes, are psychopathy or sociopathy, things like that, crimes born out of crimes that might be born out of mental problems. And not to say that people with mental health issues are criminals or whatever. I'm not saying that at all. But with the exception of those, most crime is done because of financial circumstances, your material conditions create a likelihood for you to go out and do crime. And I think the argument there is that in that structure, it's already all of your needs are addressed anyway. So the only remaining crime would possibly be, like you said, pedophilia, which I guess at that stage, medical advancements would have found a solution for that as well. I'm assuming that's what it would look like if I were to envision a communist society. So the concept of crime in and of itself would be entirely destroyed, considering that the overwhelming majority of crime is born out of material conditions.
I mean, you can also just appeal to some libertarian enforcement mechanism, right? Don't forget those. Don't forget those collectives, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a libertarian by any means. So, and that's part. I'm a state enjoyer. I often, especially in this past month, I've been talking quite a bit about how we should have 1 million more government employees. I think it's fucking ridiculous that we're trying to cut government employees rather than hire more people for the government. I think that's one of the biggest problems in America is that we don't have enough people doing jobs in general. Any area, I'll give you the TSA as an example. I flew into Salt Lake City for the day to shoot a podcast with my co-host who has escaped to Utah. Okay, and it was fucking annoying. I was waiting in line, and I was waiting in line for a fucking hour. Okay, it sucked. And back in the day, I used to be like, man, fuck these guys. These guys suck at their jobs. They're just sitting around twiddling their thumbs, not doing a good job. Now I'm woke. I realize that it's not because of the individual employee that's like handling this insane amount of demand. It's that somewhere along the line, someone decided that we're going to need to do budget cuts, and that we're not going to be able to open up the extra lines, right? Because we don't want to pay for the salaries of additional TSA employees at the time. Same with luggage handlers, right? Like anywhere where you experience as a consumer, anywhere you experience any sort of issue, our immediate inclination is that it's actually the fault of the individual workers who are fucking lazy, and that's wrong. That's just simply incorrect. It is directly because companies are corner cutting, cost cutting, and the most malleable aspect of commodity production always is going to be labor. So you cost cut by forcing 4 people to do the job of 8, especially when you can get away with it, especially when conditions have deteriorated and you're fearful that you might lose your job and then lose your fucking house, or not be able to pay rent anymore. The same principle holds for the federal government as well. TSA employees are already technically federal government employees anyway. That's why I use that as an example. Trump cut a bunch of TSA employees as well. I think it was like 300 or something. Really,
I like how it's ironic how MAGA says like these criminals are like taking our jobs, but really it's Donald Trump who's the criminal taking our jobs.
Yeah,
from federal. Michael Knowles here recently was pretty negligent.
Did you guys know
on their behalf?
Straight Arrow News that presents itself as an impartial news outlet, like a fact checker, is actually owned by a fucking billionaire dude. I forget what his name is. Hold on, let me look this up real quick.
That's actually a crazy issue, man. I was literally on stream like bitching. I was like, I don't know if I'm tripping, but these fact checks are trash.
Are horrible.
Like,
I know, right?
I thought I was like being dumb. I was like,
so the fact checks are right leaning.
Bro, the fact,
totally are.
and
Okay,
they're always missing like incredibly important context. So they almost are purposely misleading. It's odd.
I think those are ad reads almost. I almost think that they're ad reads.
It's weird.
So if you go on their website, the first thing that comes up on the commentary side is Dr. Frank Luntz. Do you guys know who that is?
Where do I know the name?
Oh yeah, that name sounds familiar.
He is a right-wing pollster, very famous right-wing pollster, and wears the ugliest toupee of all time, and also is responsible for, I don't know if you guys watched Vice, Adam McKay's movie Vice about Dick Cheney, but there's an entire segment dedicated to him. He's responsible for things like coming up with new ways of selling the Bush-Cheney administration's like insane proposals, like death tax.
Yep.
Yeah, that it used to be called estate tax, but now it's called death tax because of the likes of Frank Luntz. But beyond Frank Luntz, the entire thing is owned by. I'm trying to figure out the name of the guy who owns it. Like, not on the advisor board. If you look at their advisor board on the website, you'll find out that there's like a bunch of right-wing people on there. But like, oh, Joe Ricketts, that's the guy. Joe Ricketts is the CEO and founder of Straight Arrow News. He is also I think he's a TD Ameritrade. Yeah, he founded the company that later became TD Ameritrade, a securities industry leader that empowers self-directed investors with powerful and innovative investment tools and training. TD Ameritrade was acquired by Charles Schwab Corporation in November of 2019. Now, when you look up Joe Ricketts, however, on Wikipedia, you find out a little bit more about little old Joe Ricketts' political perspectives. Aside from the fact that he's obviously a fucking billionaire, so he's,
Dude owns the Chicago Cubs. I don't know.
Yeah, he's not going to have great opinions in general, being a billionaire. But then you look up, his anti-Muslim and racist email controversy.
Oh God, Jesus Christ!
And you find out that Splinter News in February 5th, 2019, released a cache of Ricketts' emails from 2009 to 2014. He wrote that Islam could not create a civil society, that we cannot ever let Islam become a large part of our society, and that Muslims are naturally in parentheses, our enemy. Included were Obama citizenship conspiracy theory emails and claims that Obama favored Islam over other religions. Included were multiple racist joke emails that he received and responded to positively, including slurs against Black and Hispanic people. He apologized for the emails after they were made public.
And this is the company that does the fact checking on
Totally not biased at all.
That's
Okay.
actually kind of crazy.
My thoughts are, and
Put it on the second Jubilee channel, and the same thing with like my debate on politics with Charlie. They completely cut it out from like the main video and posted it on like the second account or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, at least they still made use of it, so that's
Yeah,
good.
that is
But
true.
you know, that is, yeah, of course, these guys are very big content creators in general, so they probably get those assurances ahead of time, and it's in Jubilee's best interest to keep them happy. Like, I'm sure if I did the same thing, they would probably give me the same assurances as well. That's
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that's an indication of their right wing leanings, but the entire concept of, you know, debate the humanity of trans people with trans people in and of itself is already like inherently right wing, in my opinion. Not to say I'm against that sort of thing at all. Like, I'm not anti-debate across the board, but it always starts on this like faulty premise. It always starts on this like obvious imbalance. Like, there was a
yes, that's what pisses me off is that debate about the existence of trans individuals already is, you know, a little bit iffy. But then what they do is they'll get some PR media trained in it for like 20 years, right winger.
It's
And
making him
then,
the hero,
like,
making him the hero, and
22-year-olds
putting him
off
against
the
people who
streets with
are not
progressive
professional
opinions.
debaters. Like when they're not professional debaters and they're just randoms, and the person who's the hero is arguing that transgenderism should be eradicated from public life entirely. That's what's problematic, is that like the hero, the person who's being shown to be like, oh, the rational person, while there's the triggered person on the other side, is shown that way. And like people didn't have an issue with it with Charlie Kirk is because we had pretty good debaters, right? Like, I'm not saying no one was good at the debaters there, but like obviously there was most of the people there were not like professionalized debaters, right? They weren't like people that have platforms or things like that. You know, they weren't people that have like backgrounds debating that type of stuff. It was just going to be like a typical person who's debating, you know, right? Or who believes that.
No, absolutely. That is very consistent with like not just Jubilee but across the board. Like the right has a network of operatives and a lot more money because obviously consolidated wealth understands the importance of propaganda, and especially right-wing propaganda, which is, you know, very effective in terms of creating distractions for people. So they fund a lot of people. Like, it's not just PragerU, you know what I mean? They're very well funded. So that creates a lot more professional commentators in general. Yeah, that's why there's also a noticeable difference, I think, with like organic right-wing content creators, like that fucking old millennial guy that everybody.
Oh my god, I fucking
Bro,
hate
don't
that
even get
guy.
me fucking started on that dude.
You know about OM, Hasan?
Dude,
I can't
oh
believe
my
you know
God.
about him. I can't believe you know about him.
Because I see he's just so like he does is he Gen X or millennial? I don't know. He does the millennial pause and he has that like annoying like I know what I'm talking.
The guy said that he wanted to grate me. One night he was on live.
It's horrible.
He was very drunk, and he straight up said that I'm pretty. I'm a very pretty guy, and if he was gay, he said this. If I was gay, that's what he said. If he was gay, that I would be a target of his.
Are you talking about older millennial?
Yeah.
Yes.
He
Yeah,
also
I
said he
mean,
wants to throw disabled people off of mountains.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I only guess you were talking about him because you said he was super drunk on live. I mean, that he does have like 3 DUIs.
Yeah, he gets hammered like every night and then goes talking shit to other people. It's kind of sad.
If he works hard enough.
He'll work at Fox. Maybe he'll be the next Department of Defense secretary. I don't know. One day.
That guy's like, that's the thing. Like, he's too gross. He came up like organically. He didn't go through the farm corporation. Like, he didn't go through Daily Wire like Brett Cooper. You know what I
Now,
mean?
see, Harry.
You want to know how he blew up? He blew up making content about Harry, about how he hates Harry.
Over
Yeah,
Winter
what were you
has
saying
like 3 or 4 DUI, so he'd be the next director of ATF.
yeah. Yeah, no, he's the DUI national champion. Racking them up.
You got to get a DUI. I mean, that's always been the case for Florida politics in general. So I'm glad that we're just like nationalized.
And what do you know? Older millennial lives in Florida. So
Yeah.
Dude, that's actually crazy. I had
He said if he was, when he was drunk, he said that he would, grape you. That is also very, very Florida.
Yeah.
oh man, yeah, that guy sucks.
Just a-
That guy fucking sucks.
designed to capture cryptocurrency pedophiles.
Bob.
I feel so bad. I feel so bad.
How do we fix that?
We don't.
And I mean this.
It's over.
I mean this very seriously. What do we do about like cultures across our country that are just so ingrained in right-wing nonsense that just causes so much harm to so many people? How do you pull individuals out of that and somehow like turn it around in, like, for instance, like a state like Florida or some of the deep red places in Texas?
You got to give them a job. That's what you got to do. So they just, shut the fuck up and work. But I mean, honestly, you can't really do that much. Like, I think you just have to work. I don't think it's about like fixing individuals by arguing with them necessarily, but instead fixing the underlying material issues that create more reaction and preoccupied.
Chécalo.
Yeah, no. You actually make a good point.
Ese
there.
trae menos
Individuals'
alcohol, güey.
immediate needs are not addressed and more likely to go down. Like, 'cause I've always been trying to understand why
Modelo trae
the average
4.4%
Republican
de
has
alcohol.
less money than the average Democrat.
¿Cómo sabes?
And the Democrat Party
¿Quién te
is
engañó?
obviously
¿Quién te engañó?
comparatively to the Republican
Porque me he
Party,
probado todas las
for
chelas de
those
las que hay
with
aquí.
less wealth.
Muchísimas chelas.
And I've
Yo he
always
tomado
tried to explain
Budweiser,
this
Blue
phenomenon.
Moon,
You've kind of explained it. It's you don't
Bud
have your
Light,
immediate needs met. You're more likely
Corona,
to right to
Modelo,
rights. You're more likely to have those needs met.
Heineken.
Hey, what up, mate?
Bestia, he probado todo tipo
No,
de chelas,
Hank,
güey.
what's going on here? But
Traen
I
menos.
came in
Mira,
because I heard
Heineken
some chatter
es
going
igual que
on,
esta, güey.
specifically just about
Hasta has
socialism
probado
versus
pito,
liberalism.
creo, ¿no?
What's going on?
We're
Que
just,
come.
And when he's just like transgenderism should be eradicated or whatever it is that he said, because like that was completely genocidal, and I don't know how they're able to just.
Well, you know what probably
Right,
happened
that's it.
was the same thing that they tried to do to me. So I worked out like the prompts for my woke teen video with him for like a month. But it was like 3 days before I was supposed to fly out to LA. I get an email from the director, and they're like, "Hey, we just want to change up the prompts to make them a little bit more oriented for the success of the video." Then all of a
Which is just
sudden,
like rage baiting as much as
then
possible.
all of a sudden they want me to debate.
how would I do that on Jubilee? Any number of different like debates that they want to put together, I could just like do on my own if I felt the need to do so. But I mean, it is good. I mean, they get a lot of views, and that's a good thing. They get a lot of TikTok clips out of it, and it drives discourse for a little bit. So maybe.
You drive it in the right way, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, it just depends on like what type of content you would want to do. If that's not like stuff you're interested in, that's obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like debating, and then I'm not a good debater. But I also will still, I've debated plenty of
harmful for just like platforming insane shit. Like I think that there has to be like a line where it's like, okay, this is not something that's like a civil discourse.
I think I found
I
that
think
line.
I think we do that on live all the time. Like there are certain people where we're gonna be like, okay, I can't debate this person. This person's so insane, too much, right? Like that definitely happens on the live and stuff. But it's also like the person who's in the main person or like the host of it is the person that has good views.
Well, I
It's
feel
really
like-
important as well, and also like having good arguments. If you have good arguments, it's okay to platform. If you don't have good arguments, it's not okay.
I think that
I just wanted to say real quick. I feel like I've probably like tested that line, like the most out of creators and
Because you went to
like
the
6
the
months.
extreme of the conversation.
You went to that one.
talking with
Yeah.
one dude,
Yeah, and I think I found it. I think I found the line. So for me, I was told that Aiden Ross wanted to bring me on to debate somebody that was like right leaning. First it was going to be Candace Owens or Ben Shapiro even. And then, I learned day of, they bait and switch. They're like, debate Nick Fuentes or we're going to get somebody else to. Then I debate Nick Fuentes. I think I fucking like destroyed him in the debate. And I honestly think that conversation yielded more good than bad,
You did
societally
destroy him.
speaking, because I just made his arguments look so terrible. But after that, I ended up getting around to like Myron Gaines. And there was a point where I was going to debate Myron Gaines. But then I inevitably ended up like watching this guy go on a Twitter space and just like slur at women and minorities for 30 minutes straight. And whenever anybody would be like, man, you shouldn't do that, he was like, oh, well, you're just a beta like cuck F slur. And after seeing that, like, I never ended up talking to him. And I think the red line for me really does fall at one's ability to at least try to demonstrate their beliefs to be logical. Because so if someone wants to position themselves as a rational thinker that wants to guide humanity towards the best future, and they frame that to be alt-right, well, that's something that you could actually debunk because they uphold some sentiment of rationality. But as soon as they stop upholding that sentiment of rationality, I think that's where you shouldn't engage. But as long as there exists this collective sentiment of rationality amongst a group of people engaging in like similar thoughts, I think it's acceptable to engage with them as long as, you know, you're confident in your own beliefs, you're more educated than them, and you could shit on them. And that would pertain to, you know, even people like Fuentes.
I see this. I'm going to push back on this. I think, and I have also had a bait and switch with Nick Fuentes many, many years ago.
Really?
And I see that as one of the worst moments of my career, not because he's like a profound debater or anything like that, but because I think there are ideas that is better not to platform at all, especially because Nazis don't, like open neo-Nazis don't necessarily care about the truth at all. They just want a platform. They will lie to you knowing full well that they're lying to you, and they don't necessarily care about the truth at all. And every moment that you waste arguing with them in general is a moment where they're still getting in front of people and maybe even convincing them. Nick Withers, I would say, is a particularly good propagandist in that vein. So I've always had a never platform Nazis policy, with the only exception being that if they reach a certain point of prominence, or if they're getting like highlighted by mainstream outlets, like Richard Spencer used to get a lot of coverage from the New York Times in the first Trump era, and I would lose my fucking mind. I would do like pieces on it all the time. But with the exception of like reaching a level of national prominence, I always stay back from. I always urge people not to engage with Nazis at all. Especially if you have a large platform. You know what I mean? You don't want that shit to spread at all.
I think like deplatforming is shown to work, right? Like as much as I criticize like the Biden regime, I think that seeing Nazis off of Twitter did a lot of good towards like isolating them from being able to gain more followers. Like I don't remember ever seeing Nick Fuentes clips until the Elon takeover, and I think that that's a direct product of.
Yeah, I think like Dean, I think like a lot of problems is like Hassan's saying.
I actually think that's Aiden Ross.
I'm like, I could do that, but you're just like bringing people. You're just normalizing a conversation that it was never a conversation to begin with. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, Chris,
So
I was
wait. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
No,
so
no,
no,
go ahead.
I was thinking about that too, because Dean and I had like a small conversation about like whether or not he should do it or not. And I was half mind of it because although I agree with you, Chris, that there's a normalization going on of it in part, but at the same time, these ideas are growing and we need people to push back because we are losing our like memory of these things.
But why are they growing? That's the question.
No,
It's like to Mason's
growing.
point, I'd also probably have many disagreements with. Like again, like you're seeing these things grow because like Musk gets Twitter, people stop getting deplatformed, and then all these conversations just become normalized.
Yeah. No.
So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. As we're debating them, we're like causing them to be more.
I think what Matt's saying is that like the normalization comes from the fact that people have these beliefs in the first place. So you have to address that people have these beliefs. My point in terms of a content creator is that you address it if they already have like if it's already a normalized conversation and you're responding to that normalization, or if there's going to be something in which causes a likelihood in which it could be normalized. So it is an effort to not to stigmatize it or to make sure that it's not normalized.
Well,
like, do you think you can engage in a conversation
what I'm also
against it
talking
without
about
normalizing the conversation of it in all circumstances? It depends on the frequency of conversation.
There can be a net good from like these conversations. I think if there's a moderator that represents like the Overton window or like what actually what's an acceptable exactly. Aiden Ross is not the moderator for that. But like the thing that I really
in which it hasn't been normalized and it's not impacting people, but as soon as it does impact people, we have to respond to it. You know what I'm saying? So in order to prevent it from happening, we have to respond to it. right? So like there are circumstances where I think that we would have to address it if it's impacting people. But if it's not impacting people, well, then obviously then you wouldn't want to address it and normalize it, because then it could impact people negatively in the future.
But there are ways to respond, right, without having like that immediate conversation, right? Like you can make like whatever reaction video or a debunking video or however it is that you're going to use your media platform in order to address those concerns without like having to legitimize that person and bring it to like an equal dialogue. I think the dialogue is what makes it like blood sport debate. Like you can still like criticize these ideas and debunk them without having to have this person on a platform.
Matt, I interrupted Matt. Guys, I have to go back to Matt because I like brutally interrupted him when he was trying to say
No, it's all good. No. I was just going to finish that. My reason for saying that is because there's a lack of education on the topic, right? We have reports and we have studied that among like young people today, only like 30 to 40% of them know about the Holocaust, as an example. They only know they only know. And so that's why someone like Nick can like gravitate, because they don't have the basic facts, right? Yeah. Which is why I told Dean, like I said, Dean, I will support you in this. I think you will be fine, but you have to challenge him when he brings up like the Holocaust, because when you do that, you're going to, one, demolish him because he has no facts on his side. But you have to be able to do that because people don't know the basic facts and the basic background. And that is what breeds the hatred, is what breeds that stuff to like come up. So that's why I think, yes, there's a normalization going on, but at the same time, it has to be challenged, because if you don't know the basic facts, then you'll just believe it. Well, that was my point. That's
what I think. I think it's like Mason said it beautifully. It's like you can do that. Like the dialogue is what normalizes it. And again, I'm not trying to shit on you, Dean, because like again, like I think it's hard. Like I debated it for a long time. Like this is not an easy thing to figure out. But like to Mason's point, it is like the dialogue, and like you see it at such a macro scale, because like obviously Harry and I do like slightly different stuff than some other people in here do, of just like Trump's ability and Republicans' ability to just like normalize the most abhorrent things, desensitize us. And now somebody the other day tweeted out that like Musk was wearing a hat in the Oval Office that was a violation of the Hatch Act, which it was. And like the funniest response was like, a violation of the Hatch Act, dude. We're 50 exits past the Hatch Act. Like Trump has committed 25 impeachable offenses at least. We're looking at like the most corrupt. And 70% of Americans don't even know it. Like they're still learning that like Watergate was the fucking biggest thing, because again, it's just like we start to like have these debates, they do it, they flood the zone, we all debate it, and then it's normalized. So then next time it comes up, it's like, oh, here it's sorry, Dean.
Yeah, I think you brought this up, Dean, really well. Like people like Myron and people like Nick are skilled orators, or not even skilled, but they're not even going to respond to rational thought. They're just going to try to dogpile you with slurs or whatever it is to interrupt actual coherent arguments. So I don't even think it's worth like engaging in a dialogue with them. It's just better to kind of criticize from your own platform.
You know, though, Mason, I'm sorry, Dan.
You're good. You're good. Go ahead, Matt.
No. My only point of that would be, I'm not there, if I was debating him, I'm not there to talk to Nick and convince him. Frankly, you know, like I just don't care about him. I'm there to talk to the 14-year-old who is gravitating towards him, who might see his ideas okay, and I want to convince them.
How many 14-year-olds heard Dean spitting facts and then was like, "Oh yeah, actually Dean's gay." Like I'm going to piggyback on what Nick
hopefully
said. Like,
some thought that Dean was right, and now like on that.
What percent of those? What percent of them would have thought that?
You also think about how we get it out to people. Like so, like I would tend to say that like you probably shouldn't platform these people, but if Dean were to sit down and make a video and look at the camera and saying the Holocaust was real, we know because of X, Y, and Z. That video is probably not going to get the same reach as a video of Dean going in on Nick Fuentes being like, "You're a fucking idiot. We know the Holocaust was real because of X, Y, and Z." So there has to be about like, we could like not platform them and not debate them at all. Will that message get out, and will their message be able to get out more than ours? I think that's a problem.
Well, but the thing is like it would have never, again, like I think back to Mate's point, like I don't think it would have started if, well, again, I'm not familiar with like how Destiny like relates to Fuentes at all, but just going to like Aiden Ross himself, like if Kick had like any type of fucking policy at all that like we had in every media company ever 8 years ago, then that dude would have never gotten anywhere near Aiden Ross and wouldn't have been platformed. There would have been no 14-year-old who was like, "Oh wait, this is kind of sick." That like
these are just like that are swaying the masses. These are ideas that are further radicalizing an extremist part of the internet. Like These are not
Also,
all of the ideas.
Hold up, Evan. I want Hassan to be able to talk. He tried to talk earlier, and like everyone kind
Oh
of
no, I
talked
was
over
gonna
him.
ask
So.
a boomer question. What the fuck is the number above my head?
Oh, it's like people are giving
no,
you like
gifts. You
So
have-
gifts.
Hassan,
You've almost made $200.
Yeah. So that number above your head is $200.
Yeah.
Bro, why are you guys giving money to a millionaire? What the fuck's wrong with
That's crazy.
That's good. That's good.
Did you just do a money spread on a TikTok stream?
Wow.
Are you
I
serious?
don't even know how to collect this money. I don't know how to. I don't think I get paid off TikTok.
Yeah, bro. We got.
Well, you can always take that money and you can like send it somewhere.
You could. No.
Wait, can I use it on the TikTok shop? TikTok
Yeah,
shop?
You could use it.
you can actually send it to people. Like if you see someone on your TikTok feed and like you see someone that you like, you can just send them money if like they might need it or something. Like you can convert them into stuff that you can send people.
Like, am I live right now on my TikTok? Or-
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't.
People
I don't
can
know.
see
if
that.
it's-
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
It's not
your
like a
technic-
host,
wait,
but it's like they can see the
It's
notification.
like if they scroll past like your video, your profile shows up differently and says you're live.
Oh shit! So wait. Oh, so it doesn't show up on the For You page? Is me?
No, it does do that too. It does do that too. It's just
We're
saying
also- we're
it doesn't
also-
like I don't know. It's like
We're
kinda
also
different.
only on my second account right now, so this isn't even my main TikTok. This is just where I come out to hang out and shoot the shit.
Yeah, Hassan, you could cash those out, donate them to the DNC, and then it's funneled back to Harry and I. So
Yeah, there you go.
No, but seriously,
Seriously.
you know, if you're just like literally fucking around
Nice,
with
Chris.
TikTok, what you should do is,
I'm hilarious. I'm fucking-
obviously you're like predisposed to an algorithm of like debate content because you're able to find this. Just go find some like some leftists that you fuck with that you think are spreading a good message and show them some love.
Bro, this is
Like Chris.
Like, yo, give me the money spread.
Yeah.
Oh dear God.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, I'm an old man. It's almost about to be 11 here. But
All right, Hassan, it was a pleasure, bro. Thanks for popping
nice
in.
to meet you.
One moment, Hasan. It was a pleasure to finally meet you and speak to you in person. I'm gonna finish that content nuke and I'll see if I have any critiques for you, and I'll let
right,
you know
we-
the next
we
time
can
I'm
go
in
over
LA
it.
and we could go over it.
yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Peace, guys.
All right, man. Be safe.
Nice meeting you, man.
Please, man.
See you, Hassan.
Yeah, chill.
Does he know how to leave?
Yo, dude, that was
That's what
crazy.
you're trying to be like. He said he
That
got all the
was
coins.
crazy
He said he got all the
work.
coins. I'm just saying.
Come on, Chris.
Chris calling Hassan
Bro.
a boomer, like
Yeah,
called
actually
himself
calling
a
us on a
Chris.
boomer is crazy.
He
That's
called himself a
diabolical.
boomer. He was like,
Yeah,
what
I
are
was
these?
so late to this. Did he
I know,
just,
but
like,
that's
hop in here?
himself, dude.
Yeah.
That's
I just want
himself.
to
That's
say
not
also.
you.
I just want to say also, out of everybody here, it is a miracle of some god out there that I'm even on this live because I'm
Wrong.
like,
Come on, Matt. We love you,
no,
brother.
I'm serious. Compared to all of you, I'm a fucking no.
No, Matt.
No,
No, Matt. You're the goat,
Nah,
brother.
we love
You're the
you.
goat.
We love you,
I'm
Matt.
Well, you want to know?
Wrong.
Wrong.
You want to know?
Royalty.
You want to know what was fucking crazy? Is there's 9,000 people in here. I'm gonna tell you all how we even got to the point.
Yeah,
of
this is
having
actually
Hassan
like
up
an
on the live.
insane, like,
So
yeah.
I go live on here because I'm pissed off. And I just had the worst debate of my life with some random idiot on the main account. I got banned for bullying him. I absolutely bullied his ass. And then I come on here and I just start gossiping, right? I'm bringing up all this TikTok drama. We're talking about the Bop House. We're talking about Astrovan.
Yeah, dude,
but then
Dean-
one of the topics that we get around to
I'm literally playing Fortnite on Twitch.
is Hassan and H3. And I'm like, so I was reacting to this content nuke, right? And next thing I know, everybody thinks I hate Hassan and love Ethan. and then I see people in the chat and they're like, Hassan's in here. And I'm like, you guys are tripping. I check the queue and then Hassan's at the top.
You can
Dude,
summon
bring him
him.
up.
Crazy, bro.
Yeah, dude, we were literally. It was like.